the way that we live is not for everybody. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's
You know what time it is. It's time to come out.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me.
Surprise! Guess what's making its way back into your space after its 2-year hiatus? You've guessed it, Juan Gotti's Top of the Morning Show will be back January 6, 2025, live at 9 a.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. So bring your coffee and all your morning dews with you as we're back on Top of the Morning Show. See you over there.
Top of the morning, 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 top of the morning.
About that loss, JD5 go to Tampa Bay and showing off. Rookie of the year, that's in the bag. Thinking about a Super Bowl ring up on my hand. The last 12 win was 19 years in Tampa Bay. It's time to go to Tampa Bay, take over Tampa Bay. We need 23 up on that back end. The only person that could stop Mike Evans is Marshawn Latimore. We need the ball to score more.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, man? It's your boy Juan Gotti. And with this big game this Sunday, the Washington Commanders' first playoff berth in 4 years, I had to go out and get some of the heavy hitters to preview this game with me. So to my left, I got our guy Rico from Street Scores holding it down from the A, and to my right, we got my guy Ed Oliver. What's going on, fellas? I appreciate y'all for stopping by.
Every time, man. Let me know. Love it, man. Let's do it.
Playoff week, man. Playoff week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Look, the last time we won a game in the playoffs, I was 2 years old, and we playing the same team. But it just seems like we always lock horns with Tampa Bay, and every time we play, whether it's regular season or postseason, it's always a crazy kind of finish, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even just the fact that you could argue Deron Payne had the best game of his life against them the last time we played them in the playoffs. It's always something weird.
Yeah.
I'm expecting something weird to happen this game where some player has the best game ever. Some player we normally expect to have a good game to have a terrible game. Who knows with them, man?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we had Heineke diving for the pylon, and the Legend of Taylor Heineke game. Cam Sims had 100-something yards. Like, it was just a crazy game.
Yeah, definitely.
Steven Sims,
that
Cam
season
Sims
was crazy.
Steven Sims had a touchdown.
Yeah, and then even the regular season bouts too. I mean, 2015, you like that comeback, like while probably the greatest regular season game I've seen in my lifetime. And then the other one a couple years later where Ryan Fitzpatrick threw for like a gazillion yards and they still somehow lost 16-3, I believe. So we always have some crazy games. Now, I do want to get you guys, because obviously I was way too young, and I just saw the clip, but like, take me back to that 05 season if you guys can remember. First of all, take us back to the finish if you can remember, and then us obviously locking horns with Tampa Bay. Ed, I'll start with you on that one. And the Sean Taylor little scoop up.
Yeah. Sean Taylor had to run for it. He picked up the fumble, the scoop and score in that game. He got kicked out the game too for spitting in Michael Pittman's face. Michael Pittman is so crazy. That's how long ago back in 2000. Like Michael Pittman, his son is in the league now. Has been in the league for a couple of years as a wide receiver with the Colts. So that just shows you how long ago it was. But I mean, I remember Brunell, Santana, Clinton Portis, Chris Cooley. Joe Gibbs was the head coach back in the Greg Williams days. Chris Samuels, offensive tackle, John Jansen, they had a good team that year. Smoot, the mouth of the South, was on the team too. I'm actually looking at it because it's such a blast of the past. I'm looking at the roster a little bit too right now. But we had some good guys on the roster. Like Clinton Portis is a legend, Santana Moss, all those guys. But the crazy thing is about that game, like it was such a low scoring game, which a lot of people think on Sunday is going to be such a high scoring game. A lot of people think it's going to be in the 30s, which I could clearly see that happening too. I said last night on the King stream, I actually think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than the 35 to 38 kind of game that I think a lot of people think is going to happen. But No, I mean, it was a good season. Like the fact that we beat them with such a low score. Like they had Mike Allstott. I remember him. He was on Madden for that 1 year. And Chris Sims, you know, who's on NBC Sports or whatever it is right now. He was the quarterback. He was terrible. So we just ended up getting that win. So, I mean, I think, honestly, history has been repeating itself a little bit. So I feel like it could be a full circle moment. Like it's just our destiny 20 years from now to go into Tampa on Sunday Night Football and, you know, get our first win for the last 20 years. So, I mean, there's a lot of history with the game. I'm hyped, man. I'm excited, man. This is the biggest moment for us in a long time. And we got a fan. The only thing is that, of course, you know, my channel, a lot of people know what's going on with it right now. I can't even post right now, but I'm on the Kings channel doing my thing, you know. So it's killing me right now. I can't even post my own channel. But no, I'm super excited, man. I'm super hyped.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. They need a free Ed in the chat.
Yeah, I
man.
know, yeah, free, yeah.
Man, free Ed till it's backwards, man. Free Ed till it's Ed free, man.
No, crazy.
Yeah, free the real at all, man. Free the real.
Yeah. So, Rico, what about you? I forgot to mention. I think it was 1999 where I heard you guys yesterday say like that was the last time we legit had a real chance to go to the Super Bowl. And I seen the clip earlier how it finished, and it was just like, wow, a bad snap. So, anything from you, Rico, that you remember vividly about that 05 season, or at least that, end of it? I guess.
I mean, it's just, I mean, that was such a odd game. Like the yardage total was weird. The final score was like 17-10, right? And to Ed's point, I don't necessarily see it getting to like 30 something versus 30 something, but I wouldn't be surprised if one team has as many points as that last game had in totality. Well, the 2005 one. And yeah, we had some dogs. That was a team of a lot of our most memorable names of the guys. Like to Ed's point, like we bring up Chris Cooley a lot. We talk about a lot of different names that were on the team back then. Joe Gibbs coming back. And you know what I'm saying? It was just one of those teams where you know, we didn't make it too far, but I mean, it's just one of those seasons you won't necessarily forget, especially since we haven't had much else to cling on since then, much at all. So we remember it. I mean, maybe not most other teams remember the 2005 seasons that well, but we do because we haven't had much to really root for since then.
Yeah, nah, definitely, man. And that 2005 season, that was when Santana Moss did the Monday Night Miracle too. So that was one of the
Cowboys 13-0.
Yeah, that was that year.
And then the week before, didn't Sean Taylor like have the scoop and score against Philly too? Like, wasn't that a week prior, a couple weeks prior? I believe so. Yeah, so we always have a crazy game with the Bucs, and I think it's gonna be the same there. I really wanted to play. I mean, I didn't mind playing either one, but I really wanted to play the Rams solely for the fact that we could take over their stadium. But there's going to be a lot of Burgundy and Gold fans in attendance on Sunday. They told me, like, Buccaneers fans, my man Dorgunner said he's going, and he said, like, the Buccaneers fans, as Ed, you said last night, like, that's not really like a super sports town, I guess. So, like, we can take over the stadium. And I think we actually did do it in week one. Just we lost, so we really didn't get to, like, brag about that. I don't know if the postseason is going to be different. I expect it to, but I do think the Burgundy and Gold is going to make a strong trip as we always do in those kind of parts of the game. But I do want to take a quick pause and play a little game that I had for you guys. So again, I do this little thing where I'm just now starting to do it, where I put in like my videos, kind of like, can you guess this Commander player by their voice? So first up, I think I'm going to go with Ed. Ed, I'm going to go with you here. So I'm going to play the clip. And then after the clip is over, I'm going to allow you to guess. It should be pretty easy because, I mean, I'm using current players, but we'll see. You never know. Ed, you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let's go.
We're just a very gritty team, a very resilient team, a confident team, a team with depth.
Oh, Frankie Louisville.
Nah, that's not Frankie Louisville.
Oh, man. Well, I get another chance.
Want me play it again, or you gonna hear it again, or
play it one more time for me?
I got you.
We're just a very gritty team, a very resilient team, a confident team, a team with depth.
Dang,
I know it's somebody not Southern. It ain't somebody Southern. I know that.
No. When I say it was like, Ed, you can guess, but like if you don't want to guess, just let me know and I'll say it. When I say it, it's gonna be kind of like, oh, how did I miss that? It's a very notable player.
Let's go with Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Bobby Wagner is
Number
the
one
first.
football fan and Tyus and Sam. Thank you.
I was gonna say when you was like Frankie Louvu, I was gonna be like you close because there's the same position group, but I didn't want to give it away. But yeah, Bobby Wagner, it is it is right there. All right, Rico, you up? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
I think this one is more easier than Bobby Wagner, to be honest, but we gonna see.
We're going to the playoffs, and like it had a different vibe about it, and then now like just give the ball 17, that dude walks it off, and Marcus just killed it in the second half.
What you got, Rico?
Is that Cosme? I know Cosme Tress. I was starting to lean Tress way too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Samuel Cosme's voice a little. My final answer will probably be Tress Way because I think Cosme's voice may be a little bit deeper than that. I'm gonna go Tress Way.
Yeah, this shit was Tress Way.
Okay.
I feel like he got one of the most notable voices just because he's been around so long. And he always has great sound bites. So that was a little game that I wanted to play.
It was easy to start with the race. It was easy to guess the ethnicity, and I just had to start from there.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've only been doing it for a week, and I think the only one like people couldn't get was Olamide Zaccheaus or Olamide. That's the only one that no one could get. For
no
real.
idea how he sounds.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, but So I do want to. At first, I was going to start off by obviously, as we are going to do, talk about the playoff game. But just before I came on, I had to. I mean, I saw some more news about Cliff, and it seems like it's starting to get really serious. So I guess the Saints and I think the Bears put in a request to interview him. Rico, let me know how you feel about that.
I mean, honestly, I think he's gonna take his interviews because why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? Get courted and everything like that. It feel like a king, even if you don't take it. Feel like a king. Why not? But I think at the end of the day, the situation here is just too great for him because I mean, even Cardinals reporters in the offseason when we first hired him, they were telling us like, man, this guy does not want to be a head coach. Like no matter what he says, he doesn't want to. Like in training camp, he would go like linger around the defense just quickly, just to kind of show face. And then he would go right back to the offensive side of the ball as soon as he could and micromanaging Kyler Murray and things like that. He doesn't want to talk to agents. He doesn't want to even talk to free agents. He doesn't. I mean, talent evaluation maybe on the offensive side of the ball, but not the entire team. He doesn't want to have to worry about free agency, contract negotiations. Motivating the team. This is a guy that doesn't even like to talk much. He just wants to wear his big hat and scheme up some good plays and score some points. So I just don't see it being a fit for him. I just don't, especially, and then on top of all of that, I don't think there's just a lot of great opportunities. And then lastly, what I'll say is right now, Ben Johnson is like everybody wants him. I feel like if Cliff Kingsbury were to at least wait the next offseason, 2026, he would be everybody wants him guy. He would get all of the attention. He would get all of the praise, all of the love and things like that. He would be like the belle of the ball or whatever. I just feel like for so many different reasons, I think we at least get him for one more year.
Yeah. And before you jump in, I'm going to just say a little bit. I was really behind what you said, Rico, before I heard him last week admit that he wants to become a head coach again. And I was just like, oh, man, he wants to become a head coach again. That's what he says. And I think he's going to stay for one more year. But then I also say, like, who's to say this pool is this good next year as far as openings, right? Like you have, I believe Jacksonville's open, New England, even though they do believe they're going to go Mike Vrabel. I think a lot of people, I'm trying to think the other job openings. I think, LA, Las Vegas, and obviously Chicago. Like, there are a lot of good jobs that are open for potential teams that have quarterbacks or going to draft a quarterback. And if Cliff truly wants to become a head coach again, I'm sure he wants to have a quarterback that's going to obviously, have that Jaden Daniels-esque effect. And that's no guarantee next year that some teams are going to be in a position to draft that quarterback, or next year's draft class is going to be as good. I'm not really that big into college as far as the future goes, so I don't really know. But I hope you're right. I hope he stays for one more year. But after what he said at the podium last week, I think he is going to at least be a head coach in the next 2 years. Ed, what says you?
No, like you brought up, there's a couple good options like the Jags with Doug Peterson. He got fired, so people still believe in Trevor Lawrence at this point. Not a lot of people do, but there's an option there. And then obviously the connection with the Bears with Caleb Williams. So that's the biggest one that people are trying to connect them to. And then also because I know Justina Anderson, she came out, she said the Saints and the Bears reached out to him. So the Saints, I could see something there, but he may not want to leave. It could be like another Ben Johnson thing where Ben Johnson went on interviews, or he declined interviews too, like because he declined our interview while we were on the plane to go see him. So I think it could be another Ben Johnson situation where, he's comfortable with where he's at right now. It's like, why would I leave the situation that I'm at right now when I have Jared Goff, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta and guys like that. And, we got this high-powered offense. And it's a similar situation here where Cliff can look at it and be like, hey, man, I got Jaden. Like, let's run this back, man. However it shakes out in the playoffs, let's do it with my guy Jaden, Terry, and then let's get some more guys, because there's even more talent that we can add to the team. So that can be better for Cliff and his resume, honestly. And like you guys brought up, too, he may not want to deal with being a leader of men for the whole team, where, Dan Quinn's more the leader of men, where he controls the whole ship, where I think Cliff is better suited as an offensive coordinator, as an assistant coach. Maybe they bump up his title, like how Eric Bieniemy had that associate head coach title. Maybe they can just throw that to Cliff and give him associate head coach, a promotion or something like that. And, just keep the chemistry with him and Jaden, because we talk about how quarterbacks have all these different offensive coordinators over and over, and like different offensive coordinators. So I do think it would be good for Jaden too, if Cliff does stay. But no, I mean, I want the best for Cliff. If he really does feel like it's best for him to go to the Bears with Caleb Williams and get that head coaching job, then so be it. I'm happy for him. Like, we got Anthony Lynn's in the building, Brian Johnson's in the building. Tavita Pritchard, I feel like he has good potential to become an offensive coordinator one day. He's done a good job with Jaden Daniels as well as the quarterback's coach. So, yeah, I mean, no, it's good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a good thing that people want our guys, because nobody really wanted Scott Turner. Nobody wanted, like, Lance Newmark is getting, like, people want Lance Newmark too. So it's like a good thing that other people want guys that are in-house. So it's kind of a good thing at the end of the day, honestly.
Yeah, and I fully agree with that. That's why I was kind of just like a little bit like proud in a sense, because I was like, man, we were the team where like we was picking from other teams' crop. Now it's about to be the opposite, where teams are going to say, hey, we want to model our team after the Washington Commanders. We want to pull people from their staff to become our head coach, our GMs, etc. And as bittersweet as it is, I like that feeling, because that lets you know that you're climbing the ranks as being one of the top teams in the NFL. And then you brought up the point of, Cliff leaving and having to change offensive coordinators, but you hit it right on the head. And that's what I was thinking along the lines of, like, I want Cliff to stay, but if he truly feels like he was ready to be a head coach again, I think we'll be fine, because I think we could have a factory, almost like a Andy Reid or Mike Shanahan kind of thing, where we promote from within. Like, maybe we go to Vita Pritchard. I know a lot of people want Anthony Lynn because of his experience and stuff like that, but I kind of want somebody that's more like directly tied to Jaden Daniels. So like a Tavita Pritchard or a David Blau would be really good. I don't know if they are qualified or have experience in play calling roles, but I think we should promote from within to not create that kind of like that hole that it would be from going out, getting a guy, then having to adjust his system to Jaden Daniels, etc. I think we'll promote within. Rico, do you feel like that's a path that we'll go if Cliff was to move on?
Yeah, I think it's definitely more likely, because, I mean, y'all already said it. Not to your point, not even like just promoting from within makes a lot of sense as far as making the transition a little smoother. But then to y'all point as well, we have a lot of experienced guys that have been there, done that, with a lot of former offensive coordinators, former head coaches that are in the offensive staff right now. Then again, to Ed's point, to Vita Pritchard, maybe that young potential next Bobby Sloak, next Ben Johnson, John McVay type of guy, maybe lurking in the background, as some people have said. But I also want to add too, I just feel like Jaden Daniels is going to make whoever it is right. Like, when you have Jaden Daniels as your quarterback, maybe you aren't the smartest guy in the room, but Jaden Daniels, your quarterback, he's going to make you right. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's even said it sometimes. Sometimes he called the wrong play. I remember it was one play where, like, the play broke down and Jaden Daniels ended up scoring a touchdown from it. I can't remember the exact week how the play went, but I remember Cliff Kingsbury, like, after that game, a few days later in his press conference, how we, like, bring them in to talk, I think on Tuesdays or something like that. He said, yeah, that was the wrong play call. That was a bad play call. Jaden Daniels made me right. And I just feel confident that Jaden Daniels is so great that, I mean, don't just hire anybody off the street, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be just, I feel like there's a certain floor when Jaden Daniels is your quarterback anyway.
Yeah, that is a great point. And I agree. When you have, as everyone loves to say now, one of those guys, you, again, not going to hire anybody, but you could have a subpar guy that typically he probably is getting overrated because of how good the quarterback play is. And then if he wants to go to another team with not that good of a quarterback, you can see, all right, he's not that good of a play caller. It was just Jaden Daniels in this example that was making him, better than what he actually was. So before we actually move on to the Tampa Bay game, I did have another topic that I wanted to discuss, just quickly kind of recapping the season. But before then, I did see a comment where it was kind of having a question about a potential trade. I really didn't pay no mind to it because I heard that he made up with the Dolphins, but it was a potential trade out there for Tyreek Hill in the offseason. I think it was like a second and a fourth and Luke McCaffrey for Tyreek Hill. And I really just was like not paying no mind because I don't really think he's leaving. Although I will say, guys, like now we're finally a team where we don't have to dream and it'd be a long shot for these star players to come here. Like we could have, it could be a true scenario where Tyreek Hill comes here or T. Higgins or these top free agents or, guys actually wanting to come play for us because of how good our team is due to Jaden Daniels and just this whole rebuild. So I'll start with Rico on this one. Did you see the Tyreek Hill kind of proposal and what's your whole thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it was FanDuel, and I think it was a second and a sixth for Luke McCaffrey. I mean, for that, I would do it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, to your point, I completely agree that I don't think Tyreek Hill is actually for real trying to leave that bad. I think he was just angry at the loss that he took. And, this is his first time being in the NFL, not being in the playoffs and everything like that. So I think he was just frustrated. And to your point, it sounds like they've made up from behind the scenes and things like that. They'll figure it out. They're going to give it another go next year. I feel like injuries were a big reason why they were so bad this year. So, I mean, yeah, that type of trade, cool. I'm with it, but I just don't see it happening at all. But to your point, I do feel like we'll have our pick of the guys that are available. Like I mean, even before the trade deadline, remember DJ Reed with his tweets looked like he wanted to get traded to the Commanders. He'll be a free agent if you want to just sign him. Everybody's trying to get out of that Jets organization right now. I think it was even Sauce Gardner that told somebody not to come. So I forgot the exact situation, but he was like, no, don't come here. It's not, don't even do it. Like free yourself, save yourself while you can type of thing. So I know teams with a lot of talent like the Jets are probably going to lose some good players, and the Commanders, Adam Peters, and these guys are going to be ready to scoop them right up.
Yeah, good point. Ed, what about you? Would you be all in on Tyreek Hill, coming off of the season that he had and a little bit aging?
Yeah, so where did you see that they made up? Because if he's available, I am intrigued. And I said this last night with Rico. But where did you see that they made up?
So I saw it on and I'm not saying he's necessarily a super credible source, but JPA Football had posted it where it was kind of just along the lines. Let me see if I can find it right here. Where it was just kind of like they were. Say it again.
I did see Luke. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to hear you. It was breaking up. What'd you say?
I said I did see the Luke scenario trade, the mock trade from So Football Forever put one up on Instagram, and I saw it's Tyreek. I mean, you already said it right. So a 2025 second, a 2025 third, and a 7th round pick, and Luke McCaffrey. I'm not giving up on him, but to give away Luke for Tyreek, I mean, I wouldn't care less. That doesn't really sway me, or I would be on board for that. And then maybe I would just do the 3rd and the 7th in Luke instead of the 2nd and the 3rd because of Tyreek's contract. And I'm not saying Tyreek's declining because he's clearly not. It was just quarterback play. Like, Tyler Huntley, there's only so much you can really expect from him. And Tua was injured and missed a bunch of games. But just imagine Terry and Tyreek on the field at the same time. Like, Tyreek does the stuff that we complain about Terry. Like, he's not getting hawked down. He's not getting shoestring tackled at the 10-yard line on a 50-yard bomb from Jaden Daniels. Like, That's a touchdown. Like, no knock to Terry. I love Terry. Terry's a top 5 receiver, this year, and a top 10 receiver in my eyes for sure. But like all the times Terry didn't get in the end zone, that's a touchdown by Tyreek. We talk about yak guys that we don't really got. Like De'Ami Brown is our best screenplay catcher, and Tyreek Hill is a screen play demon. Like, so he would open up the offense so much for Cliff, and like he would make Jaden better, and Jaden would connect with him. Like the times that Jaden hasn't been able to connect with Terry, I bet he would connect with Tyreek Hill for sure. Like he would just make the game so much easier and open up the offense. So I mean, like you got to think about it. Like a lot of people saying no automatically. Like you got to think about that. But the thing is, like Rico said too, like maybe he was just mad after the game and he wasn't being like cooler heads prevail. You let time pass, and he's like, nah, I want to stay with Tua and my guy Jalen Waddle and what's the coach's name over there, Mike McDaniel. They got a good bond, but I mean, let's see. Like Adam Schefter said, players want to come here, so he may be one of them. It may be a month from now or in March when the new league year starts and stuff like that. Maybe he's one of those guys that's like, hey man, I want to come to DC and play with Jay Daniels. So anything can happen now, man. Anything can happen. We're the new Texans. They traded for Stephon Diggs, so let's see if we trade for somebody this year too.
And Danielle Hunter. And also to your point too, you can't overthrow Tyreek Hill. So
it's not possible.
Hey, look, I would love for that to happen. I would love to have like a Madden scenario where we just go out and go crazy in free agency and trades and stuff like that. I mean, as you mentioned, Ed, he's still gonna be wanting out of Miami, but it said Dolphins leadership cleared the air and with Tyreek Hill, and he did not request a trade. But again, you never know. Once like February, March get around here, he gets to see Jaden Daniels in action, and I'm pulling my best Rico impersonation, predicting that we're gonna be playing into that far. So hopefully something like that can happen. I know a lot of people want T. Higgins, as the comments is saying. What about T. Higgins? You know who I really want, and I think this is a little bit. Given how frustrating and turmoil their organization is, I think he will be on the move. Is Garrett Wilson. I feel like that would be a nice pick. I know we want a big body kind of receiver to go alongside Terry, or just, T. Higgins is a dog, and clearly that. But two things that I want to say about T. Higgins is, one, he's going to be the best potential free agent receiver coming out. So, every team is going to be wanting to go after him, and it's not no guarantee that Washington gets him. That's one. And then two, who's to say Cincinnati don't bring him back? Like, I know salary cap is a thing and stuff like that, but we've seen like in the past where teams like the Rams have finagled the cap to allow them to have some room to sign back star players. So I'm not even too sure that T. Higgins is necessarily going to be available because they may re-sign him, or like I mentioned, it's going to be a lot of other teams wanting to go after him. So, Ed, what do you think about like a Garrett Wilson, or I think Stephon Diggs is out there this offseason, and Chris Godwin? Those are a couple guys that I paid attention to. So, what do you think about that? And then obviously T. Higgins going back to Cincinnati.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm down for adding talent. Of course, at the wide receiver position, Stephon Diggs, I like him a lot, but I'm just a little iffy. He's coming off the ACL. I think there's a little bit of baggage with him too. No legal stuff, but like, he just complains a lot. I know he's from Maryland, so I root for him and stuff like that. But it's just like everywhere he goes, for the most part, he's unhappy. Wasn't happy with the Vikings, wasn't happy with the Bills. So, we gotta look at stuff culture wise, like who fits our culture right now. T. Higgins, I'm certainly on board. I mean, watching what he did to the Broncos a couple weeks ago, he had 2 touchdowns in that game. I mean, he went crazy in that game. I would love to have T. Higgins on the team. Chris Godwin, he's coming off that bad injury, but he should be available for week 1. He's 28. T. Higgins is 25. So and Stephon Diggs is 31. Like, it's crazy to think he's 31 years old, that he's been in the league for that long. Like, I still feel like he's like 28, 29, but he's actually 31. I'm looking at the other free agents that you brought up too. I'm looking at the free agent list after Stephon, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper's a free agent. So, I mean, you could think about him too. I'd probably do like a 1-year, 2-year deal if I did that. And then DeAndre Hopkins is available. He's 32. So, but there's a lot of guys. And of course you got to look at the draft too, but no, I would give up what they gave up for Luke in that mock trade, but you can sign him anyway. But like Rico said too, like, and you said the Bengals, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back too, just because of the chemistry, like him, Jamar, and Joe Burrow, man. They really have something going. Like they were the best team to not make the playoffs by far. Like they they're probably one of the best teams to ever not make the playoffs, like ever. Like the talent that they had in the season that Joe Burrow had.
I know the Chiefs are happy.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, I mean, to make a long story short, yeah, I'm all in for T. I'm all in for T, man. Just like I said, imagine Terry just gets a real compliment. Like we haven't seen Terry with a legitimate number 2, and like if T Higgins comes, he's not wide receiver number 2. Like it's really 1A 1B kind of thing. I mean, you can argue T is just as good, as, if not better than Terry. Like I said, I love Terry, so that's how highly I think of T Higgins.
Yeah, that's a great point right there, Ed. And they look at all the free agents are now starting to come back in. He says, I would throw the kitchen sink at Max Crosby. We desperately do need a game-changing pass rusher as well. So Max Crosby.
People tying us to Hendrickson from the Bengals too. Like everybody, like that's how good we are now. Everybody's tying us to like every top player. Everybody's like, oh, this guy, like he's gonna go to Washington. Like that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I don't think this is going to happen, but I heard like Myles Garrett is going to sit down with the Browns to kind of get a sense of direction of where that organization is going, and if it's not something that he's on board with, he could also be on the move. So this could be a really good offseason, but we're not there yet, and I hope we don't get there no time soon. So let's actually transition into football, okay? So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we mentioned already, have a historical, past with them postseason and regular season. I'll be lying to you if I didn't say the biggest storyline for me going into this game is obviously us getting the victory, but on a more player versus player level, it's obviously Marshawn Latimore versus Mike Evans. So I'm going to start with you, Rico. Seems like he's trending upward. You know what I'm saying? It seems like he's going to play. He was a full participant in practice today. Just tell us, even though we already know, but just let us know how big of an addition would he be for, again, just solely just for Mike Evans, because we've seen how they get in the past. I hope they cut it out for Sunday so we don't have no like game altering flags or nothing like that. But it can get chippy between those two. But just talk to us about how big of a matchup that's going to be for having Marshawn Latimore, because we've seen what it looked like with no Marshawn Latimore in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, we really need him. It's bad. I mean, even outside of Mike Evans, just having a really good corner to try to take away the other team's really good receiver will allow us to focus on the other receivers that they have. I know Chris Godwin's going to be out, but the other kid it looks really good right now as well. So hopefully Mike Sanders still can do a great job against him. Mike Sanders still getting better and better. But that, of course, when we traded for Marshawn Latimore, we hope that he could erase the best receiver so that we can put more bodies in the box to stop the run. But also just Mike Evans wise specifically, not just any good corner, but specifically like his nemesis in Marshawn Latimore. Like Mike Evans hates that guy. He's gotten in his head. Like, Marshawn Latimore's gotten in his head. All his career averages are like way lower against Marshawn Latimore, like really, really low. And then Marshawn Latimore's also gotten him fined over $100,000 in total already. And I think Marshawn Latimore's only been fined like $10,000 in their matchups. So you can see who's getting in whose head the most. I think Mike Evans has also been suspended twice, 1 game each, for dealing with Marshawn Latimore as well. So like we have like the perfect counter to him. There are better corners in the NFL than I would say what Marshawn Latimore is right now. But Marshawn Latimore is the most proven commodity to get Mike Evans out of his game. I believe the last time they met in the playoffs, I think Mike Evans had like 1 catch for 3 or 4 yards and no touchdown. Like we have the perfect answer for a Mike Evans. So I'm really excited about that matchup. I'm hoping that the hamstring is good enough to allow him to do what he's done to Mike Evans in the past. But I'm really confident going in.
Man, you really hit it on the head with that one. I think they said like the stats was out there that he like Mike Evans has a career low, anytime he matches up against Marshawn Latimore. And then someone kind of made a funny comment. They was like, hey, Mike Evans lucky Marshawn Latimore still didn't play for the Saints because he probably wouldn't have got the record the last game because Marshawn Latimore would have did anything to stop him from getting there.
Good
so
point.
Ed, yeah, pick up where Rico left off. Ed, how good is it to have Marshawn Latimore back specifically for this game versus Mike Evans?
Oh yeah, that's his biggest op, man. They're each other's biggest op. They hate each other with a passion. Like Mike Evans came out of nowhere and pushed Marshawn Latimore like twice on 2 different occasions. I mean, Rico brought it up really well. Like he's been suspended, fined, everything you can name it. Like they've been scrapping. Like they scrap, they squabble, they throw punches at each other. everything. Like, this is real beef, man. Like, this is stuff that we don't see a lot. Like, this is what we're waiting for. And to get this in the bright light Sunday Night Football, like, I just hope the refs don't call any ticky-tack stuff, like, against A.J. Brown. Like, they were just, real quick to throw the flag on Marshawn. But A.J. Brown was grabbing Marshawn by his collar. Like, so I know Mike Evans is going to try to get away with stuff. Like, he's going to try to do some slick stuff. He's going to try to push off and whatnot. Marshawn's got to keep his cool, but I do want Marshawn to get under his skin and definitely talk trash to Mike just to get in his head and get him out the game. Like, that's it's a huge, like, if he can really take Mike Evans out the game and limit him to, like, say, like 40 yards receiving, 50 yards receiving, no touchdowns, like, that's huge for us. And then Mikey can just deal with Jalen McMillan. And honestly, like, that would be huge for us, man. And we can slow down, but that would be helping us in the run game too, slow down Bucky Urban. So that's the reason why we bought him here, man. We traded a 3rd-round pick, and Adam Peters loves him. Adam Peters picked him up after that Saints game. Like, they didn't even throw his weight, but they're gonna challenge him this game. But yeah, Marshawn, like, that's why we brought him here. So I mean, he hasn't played a lot of games. He's only played 1.5 or 1.25 games, and he rested. Like, I know John Keim said that if it was the playoffs, he would have played against the Cowboys. So I think it was smart for him to sit out and just rest, let the hamstring heal, get fully healthy as much as possible, and just be ready for this playoff game. And he's got to travel him, shadow him, just stay with Mike Evans the whole game. Like, that's the biggest matchup of the night, man. So it's gonna be like a WWE boxing type match, UFC. Like, I know the camera's gonna be on those guys like the whole game, so I can't wait.
Yeah, you know that. Oh, go ahead, Rico. I'm sorry. I think you might be muted, Rico.
Oh, sorry.
No, you good.
Joey Jr. and Dan Quinn have shown that they are willing to let Marshawn Latimore travel from the game that we had against the Eagles with A.J. Brown. That he did not just stay on one side of the field. He was with A.J. Brown no matter where he was, every single play, all the time, the entire game. So I'm pretty sure they're going to let him do the exact same thing with Mike Evans.
No, yeah, definitely. And I'm already knowing that they're going to show the highlights of the past fights a million times on Sunday, just to show how they were. But you made a good point, Rico, that I was just going to bring up. But before I continue, I want to say thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Primetime Henry, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. But I was going to bring that up, Rico, as well. And you made the point that, like the Eagles game, the first time Saquon Barkley was able to kill us because we didn't have nobody that was able to, stop A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith, so we couldn't really load the box up. But now, the second time, we have Marshawn Latimore, A.J. Brown to allow him to kind of just shadow him so we can able to stack the box 6-7 deep. And that kind of worked in our favor, especially the second half against Saquon Barkley. And that could be kind of the same deal that we go with because their running game has really been well. Bucky Urban, 1,100 yards in his rookie season. So I think having Marshawn Latimore is just huge. He changes his defense drastically. And with no Chris Godwin as well, that could just allow Washington to really just hone the focus on Mike Evans. As good as, McMillan has been this season, I think guys like, Sarah Steele and can hold him down. And God forbid Juice is out there. But, hey, Mike Davis so bad, he be having me like I be ready to forgive St. Juice for the roast I be having with him because Mike Davis was just so bad. But yeah, let me go ahead and try to see if he had a comment. He says, I have not had a season like this since 1992. I was 15 years old. I'm 47 now. The depressing days are over. Lifelong Redskins fan, born and raised. Hey, look, man, I'm so happy for you, man. And I can relate to you. I mean, just for all my life, at least you got sense or whatnot. Like since you were 15, all my life we've been pretty bad. So it feels good to finally have a team that is actually have a sense of direction and just the positive turnaround in such a short time. So I do actually want to go to that point, and Ed, I'll start with you on this one. This season, 12-5 playoff berth, and obviously have a legit chance to make some noise in the playoffs, depending on how the bracket, plays out. What was this season for you? Like, were you super surprised? Did you think this was a possibility? Like, your overall just thoughts on this regular season?
Oh, it was insane. I mean, I did not think we were going to win 12 games, honestly. I mean, not a lot of people thought we were going to win 12 games the way we did, especially in a recalibration year, especially with the roster that we had or that we have right now. You look at the receiving core, you look at, No disrespect to Zach Ertz. He's tight end 1 and tight end wide receiver number 2 was Noah Brown, a guy that we signed 5 days before the season started after the 53-man roster was made. So, and then your cornerback number 2 is, at the time, we started with Ben St. Juste as CB1 and Mikey Sainristil CB2. Emmanuel Forbes was still on the roster. So, we had a lot of I guess, weaknesses that we had on the secondary and the wide receiver core and all that. So, and we had a rookie quarterback. You would think there would be training wheels and, a learning curve and whatnot, but Jaden really never had that. I mean, the first game of the season, yeah, that was somewhat of a learning curve game, but ever since that Bengals game, Monday Night Football, he just really took off and took the lead by storm. So, but I mean, even 10 wins, honestly, was something I would have been happy with. I would have been happy with 9 and 8 coming from 4 wins from last year. We had the worst defense in the league by far, one of the worst offenses in the league by far. So, I mean, we came a long way. So, I mean, this season, we're way, 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 way ahead of schedule, especially with a rookie quarterback and a rookie at left tackle and Brandon Coleman. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on. Andrew Wiley is playing better. So, there's a lot of positions that guys are just playing above, what we expected this season for sure. I mean, you look at B-Rob, he's been struggling. So, even the running back position, there's a lot of things that we have to attack this all season. So, no, I did not think we were going to be 12. I'm super happy. I mean, the Hail Mary, everything that happened and transpired this season. So, way ahead of schedule, making the playoffs. I mean, don't want to say we're playing with house money, but we really are, man. And players want to come here. We got a new culture and everything. So, way, way, way ahead of schedule. This is the best case scenario type of season anybody could have predicted before the season started.
Yeah, definitely. And Rico, I'm going to let you go ahead and say your spell. But I do want to, obviously, what's going on in California. Got SoCal in the house. Eric Fortis Jr., I do want to say I appreciate you for repping the Burgundy Gold all the way from out there. But prayers up to you and all your family and everyone in California. I don't know if it's just Southern California or wherever exactly it is. But I hope you all are safe and definitely praying for you all's safety. So shout out to you for still being here nevertheless. Rico, you can kind of take over your overall just thoughts about this season. Did you ever expect this, and just how are you feeling?
Man, it's beautiful, man. I mean, because my main goal comes to the season where, of course, improve. You win 4 games last year. Can we try to win at least 6, 7? Give me 8. You know what I'm saying? And then also franchise quarterback. I mean, when you invest a number 2 overall pick into any player, but let alone a quarterback, you want them to at least show you signs of, okay, here's the flashes. This is why you drafted this guy. This, we can work with this. I was hoping he would give us some building blocks this year. This man went out there and played like a top 6, top 5 quarterback. And there's arguments to be made top MVP just off of his roster isn't as good as a lot of the other quarterbacks they have, or even how long they've had chemistry with their teams compared to Jaden Daniels just coming in right out the gate as a franchise quarterback immediately. But I mean, because even just to compare them to the Texans, CJ Stroud, his rookie season, the Texans went 10-7, and everybody was like, man, I mean, it would be nice if Jaden Daniels could be CJ Stroud, but it's not very likely. This man looks better than CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's, I'm not even going to talk about this year rookie sophomore season CJ Stroud. Even rookie CJ Stroud compared to rookie Jaden Daniels looks better definitively. The stats are there. He just looks harder to have to deal with the game plan against and things like that. I feel like his legs are a huge part of that, but nevertheless, Jaden Daniels looks like the better quarterback right now. The Texans went 10-7 in CJ Stroud's rookie season. The Commanders went 12-5. So I feel like he's beating them in every way possible. All we need Jaden Daniels to do to at least one up CJ Stroud one last time is to win another playoff game, not just this first one against the Buccaneers. It'd be nice if we could get another one. But at that point, Jaden Daniels would have outdone CJ Stroud in every way possible in his rookie season compared to CJ Stroud's last year, which would be just absolutely incredible. Because again, coming into the season, we were hoping that, hey, man, it'd be nice. Best case scenario, he's CJ Stroud. It's crazy that he looks like he's even better. Jaden Daniels looks like a better version of our best case scenario than a lot of us, especially me, even predicted. He looks better than the best case scenario. But then the season itself looks like better than the best case scenario. I mean, I did not think that I knew our free agency destination situation would improve. I didn't think we would be like the ones. The Adam Schefter is putting out an article that players are asking their agents, please trade me to that team before this playoff run. And so imagine when the offseason, when people can join us without having to be traded for, they could just join in free agency. And then just the draft, I of course already knew we were going to try to purge out as many Ron Rivera guys as possible, get as many Adam Peters guys in as possible. But they went beyond that than what I expected. And not only did they get rid of more Rivera guys than I expected, I mean, former first round picks, all of them are gone now. But also the guys that they brought in, it wasn't just getting rid of Rivera guys. The guys they brought in are also pretty good as well. And so and then the front, y'all know me as a GM guy, the front office, being able to steal Brandon Sosner from the Lions, Lance Newmark from the Lions. I love everything that we're doing right now. So everything was better than the best case scenario.
No, yeah, definitely. It's funny because like when I made my season prediction, I did have Washington best case scenario and predicted them to kind of win 11 games. But I was more so saying that from the standpoint of how I thought about our schedule, having a last place schedule, and it really wasn't as challenging as I thought it was. And I just thought we were going to, be a better team and take advantage of that. But I didn't expect this kind of blossom from Jaden Daniels. Like, it was just crazy how in control he is. You got to hear the mic'd up with him, and he's so calm, cool, and like he just moves like a veteran, and all the older guys responded to him well. And as to your point, Rico, about the CJ Stroud comparison, I don't watch much TV all the time anymore, but Ryan Clark, who has like a special title, watched it. He kind of said, hey, look, if CJ Stroud's rookie season was out of this world, then Jaden Daniels is out of this universe. And he was like, man, on that and against that Atlanta Falcons game, he was like, once Washington won that toss, he has that call. He was like, I already knew they won the game on the toss. He kind of has that Mahomes factor to him where it's like, if he gets the ball first, you already know it's pretty much wraps. And he was like, also to the fact that a lot of these teams, they're going to be able to go into these next drafts, and we need to find our Jaden Daniels because there, quite frankly, isn't another one. He's one of those kind of rare guys. So, I mean, obviously it starts with him. Just the success he created, and as Rico, as you mentioned, hitting these free agencies, like free agent picks like crazy, man. Like, I think all of our free agents have been outstanding. Tyler Biadasz has been one of my favorite signings. Obviously, we know when he's not in the lineup, man, the offensive line really just goes out of the window. But yeah, man, you guys both said it all. Shout out to Off to Another Word. Says Jay Dang's got that Steph Curry kind of takeover trait in him, which is definitely factor too that I like to mention. DMB Base says rookie CJ was error-free and game manager like rookie JD is more of an executor and fourth quarter gunslinger. So I know I kind of have that confidence in him as well. But Rico, do you share that kind of same confidence in you as well, Ed, if you want to go in? Like, going back to that Falcons game, even that Eagles game, we were down 21-7 and I was just super confident. I knew we were going to win. Has JD5 instilled that in you yet, fellas? Like, where you just chilling on the last drive, kind of just knowing, like, obviously you don't know what's on the other side of the screen, so you get a little bit nervous, like, what's going on, but like kind of having that feel like, hey, man, we know we got this, man. He's going to take us down and win us the game because we've been in those spots so many times. And I'll start with you on that one. How confident are you in JD5 in late game situations?
Oh, 100%. I mean, look at the Eagles game. I mean, where he just drew Jalen Carter out of shoes. Like, you let him have the football give him a minute left. You look at the Hail Mary against the Bears, just give him a minute and 30 seconds is all he needs. Really just a minute, honestly. Down by 3 or down by 5, whatever. Like, he can get you the touchdown. He can get you in field goal range, whatever you need. Like, the pass at Terry McLaurin against Dallas where Austin Seibert choked and missed the extra point. Like, stuff like that's not supposed to happen, but we have a guy in Jaden Houdini, like, who can make crazy things like that happen and get us in range and field goal range. Like, all he needs is the football. Like, even with Zach Ertz against Pittsburgh, like, I feel like that was a first down, but like the fact that he even got us in that position to almost even get it on 4th and 9, like, he can use his legs. 4th and 4, 4th and 14, it doesn't matter. Like, against the Saints, 4th and 11 ran for a first down. 4th and 11 ran for a first down against the Eagles. Like, it does not matter. The Falcons game where he let us down in overtime and, he was out of breath. Like, that's just how much he's putting himself on the line to get us into the end zone and win these ball games. Like, there's always a chance with JD5. I mean, you can go back to the Bengals game with the pass to Terry like that beautiful pass on 3rd or 4th down. Like there's just always a chance with Jaden, man. There's always a chance when you get the football in his hands. So, I mean, I call him Houdini, man. Like anytime he's got the ball with 2 minutes left, he got the ice in his veins. He does have that Steph Curry like factor to him for sure.
Rico, did you have anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, for me as a Georgia Bulldog fan, it goes all the way back to 2 years ago. I never even heard of him. We played LSU in the SEC championship game. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't exactly know who he was. I'd never watched him at Arizona State before then or anything like that. And he was just killing our defense. And that was like our record-setting defense that wasn't allowing like most teams win against that season to even score a touchdown. I forgot how many points he put up on us, but it was more than like probably 5 or 7 of our games combined of opponents putting up points against us. Like I was like, yo, what is this? So then I kept track of him for the next season. And he was, I mean, if he didn't get hurt against Alabama, who knows how that goes. So I already had like some built up confidence, like, hey man, this guy may be a little special. And then, you know, of course, we're doing the film breakdowns. We're really watching this tape, preparing ourselves to draft him. And then, I mean, he's shown a calmness in so many situations. Ed said it perfectly with all of the different situations where he's come up clutch. And yeah, when we won the coin toss, I mean, I'm a big tails never fails guy. So once I even saw them call heads, before I even saw the result, I was like, yeah, y'all done messed up. Y'all done messed up with that one. And then, yeah, Jaden Daniels. The beautiful thing about Jaden Daniels in these clutch moments is it's not like any freak accidents. It's not like a bunch of explosives. So if it needs to be, he will. Like with the Hail Mary, the Terry McLaurin should have been a clutch game-winning play against the Dallas Cowboys. We know how that went from the first time we played them, kicking it to Turpin and all of that. But it's like a Tom Brady level of like picking apart a defense where it's 5 yards here, 8 yards here, maybe 11 here, or something like that. But it's a methodical walk down to win the game. It is not just he threw a slant to somebody and they took it the entire way for 70 yards. No, Jaden Daniels is earning these game-winning drives. I think he leads the NFL in like touchdowns with like 30 seconds left for the 4th quarter overtime or something like that. Like insane stuff just in general, but especially as a rookie, it's absolutely ridiculous. And the crazy part is he's only going to get better because we can still watch him and still be like, yeah, you could have done that better. Maybe you can see this guy open a little bit more and things like that. So the fact that he's only going to get better is just, man, if I were a fan of any other team in the NFC, I'd definitely be worried.
Yeah, man. And you definitely hit it on the head where it's like, I'm not going to say how can he get better because clearly he can, but just knowing how fast he has rose up the ranks and how good he's already is right now, just imagine where he's going to be in 2 to 3 years from now. It's just insane of how much better he will get because obviously he said it like in the presser today back in week 1, he's light years better than where he was when he first came into the league. So just imagine 2-3 years from now, this probably is the floor for him. And to say that is just insane in itself. But before we close out the show, I do want to obviously thank you all for coming on, but finish up with a little bit of touching finally onto the playoff game and get a little bit of background information that you guys feel about this game. Before I do, Rico, I do have to ask specifically for you, speaking of that Falcons game and the quarterback duel, is it bittersweet because we beat them again 4 years in a row? Like they need a break, man. We keep beating them. But also, is it kind of a little? Does it suck a little bit that the Falcons may got on one? Because I know your hatred for the Falcons runs deep, and Michael Penix seems like a dog to me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Michael Penix looks good. But I mean, even going into the draft, you know, has mobility, just for some reason doesn't like to use it, even though he finally got himself a running touchdown. I think he had to put it at the pylon or whatever, but coming out of the draft, the whole debate was like, yeah, Caleb Williams the more talented, maybe overall Drake May has the strongest arm. But when we're talking about we need a deep ball at the right spot, like right in the exact bucket, you can't pause time and walk it up and hand it to the receiver better than a spot like that. It was Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels the whole way. It was just them two in a tier of their own as far as deep ball accuracy, medium, intermediate accuracy, and things like that. So Michael Penix, I'm not surprised. Only thing I'm surprised by, and I guess this is similar with Jaden Daniels, is that like for it to click this quickly. I mean, he's only had 3 starts now, and he already like looks this good. You would think he's been a quarterback since the beginning. So yeah, I do hate it. I'm happy that we beat them. I'm tired of playing them because, back when I was in high school, we played them like once every 4 years and we kept losing. So they would have like 4 years of worth of trash talk, then another 4 years. For some reason, when we finally start beating them, we play them every year to keep giving them a rematch. Or I don't know what that is, but hopefully we don't play them from a long time from now. But yeah, they have themselves one in Michael Penix, but hey, he ain't Jaden Daniels. He's great. I think he's going to be really good, but he ain't Jaden.
Yeah, no, that's definitely facts. And shout out to Abdullah. He says we need to have a Commanders content creator hoop run / football game. Hey, if that's the case, I got Ed on my team, man. I need somebody to get them boards, man. Shout out to Abdullah, man. He says I can't believe some people thought Bo Nix rookie year over JD5. That was crazy. I mean, man. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Rico, you want to kick that off?
He's good, but like his O-line, his defense, and his receivers. You put Jaden Daniels on that team, they're at least a top 3 seed, man. Because Jaden Daniels, was kind of lost in how excited we are about winning 12 games and things like that. Our roster is not that good. Like, you're looking around, we're complaining about interior defensive line, we're complaining about edge rushers. When Marshawn Lattimore's hurt, we're complaining about our corners. We're still sort of complaining about our even the running backs, even the receivers outside of Terry. At times, we're complaining about them tight ends. Like Benson hasn't been as featured as I hoped he would be up to this point. Like, we feel like we still have so many holes in the roster, but it just doesn't matter because Jaden Daniels finds a way to win. So I just think Bo Nix has everything you need to really go to a Super Bowl right now. I think if anything, he's playing well, but I feel like he's one of the reasons they're not a Super Bowl contender. You put Jaden Daniels on that team, they are a definitive Super Bowl contender right now.
Good point, Ed. Anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, Bo Nix had too many turnovers and he had threw like 3 picks in one of the games. But yeah, Jaden definitely, he's 12-5. People tried to put Bo Nix in the conversation. Bo Nix had a good season, don't get me wrong, of course. But a lot of the points that Rico brought up, like the Broncos, they had a defensive touchdown in a bunch of games. Like the Jameis game, they had a defensive touchdown. The Falcons game, they picked off Kirk a couple times. Like, they forced a lot of turnovers. Patrick Surtain. They're like top 5 in sacks. Like, they're a darn good defense. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Javonte Williams. Like, they just have more talent surrounding the team. And you watch their games, they scheme guys open a lot. So I'm not gonna take anything away from Bo Nix, but Jaden just had the better season. Like, Jaden, I think, and then you look at the first couple games that Bo Nix had. Like, Bo Nix had a really bad start. Like, he was really bad. He had a game where he only threw for 60 yards against the Jets, and like that's never gonna happen for Jaden Daniels. Like, Jaden Daniels is never gonna go out there and only throw for 60 yards. The only way that would happen is if we blow a team out like 35-10 and he runs for like 100 yards or something like that. That's like the only possible way that can happen. So like if Jaden Daniels would have started, like, if you look at Bo Nix's stat line for the first 2 or 3 games of the season, really the first 4 games of the season. So Bo Nix against Seattle, he went 26 for 42, 138 yards, a 61.9 QBR, which is terrible, and 2 picks, no touchdowns. Against the Steelers, they lost 13-6.
26 completions with 130 yards.
Yeah, 130. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then the second game, he went 20 for 35 against the Steelers, a loss 13-6, where they only put up 6 points. Like, you're not going to hold JD5 to 6 points. Like, that's not happening. 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. You already saw how he played against the Steelers. Even though he lost, Jaden still had a solid game. Then the Buccaneers, they beat the Buccaneers 26-7. He had a better game there, and then they beat the Jets 10-9. He was 12 for 25, 60 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. So, like, Jaden's not doing that. Like, he's not going to have a game where he's only going to throw for 60 yards or lose 13-6. Like, that's just not his DNA. So, and then even in some of the good games that Bo Nix had, he threw 3 picks against the Colts. They won 31-13, but he threw 3 picks. You just can't turn the ball over that much. The Browns, they won 41-32, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Then the Ravens, they lost 41-10. So if you really want to compare, they lost 41-10 against the Ravens. And Jaden had one of his best games against the Ravens, and that was without B-Rob. And that's when the Ravens were really, like, the Ravens are a good team anyway, but that's when the Ravens were really hot too. And they stopped the run game, and it was all on Jaden. And he made a huge 4th down touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin. So Jaden really has Bo Nix beaten almost every category, honestly. Running the ball, touchdown interception ratio, wins, all that. Jaden got him.
And I call Bo Nix Mo picks too. So
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So optimal focus. Thank you so much. He says it's about to get real. Shout out to my guy Philip B. Off to another world says I need Mike to throw 2 punches with Latimore slipping them both for a Mike Evans ejection. As Rico and Ed both said earlier, he gets in his head, so that could be something that could potentially happen. But to take us out, fellas, man, as we're about to wrap up, Ed, I'll start with you. Just give us your quick overview of this game, thoughts, and if you have a prediction at this time, I don't know if you do, but if you do and want to share as well, just wrap us up about this game as we're preparing for Sunday Night Showdown.
Oh yeah, this game is huge, man. 8:00 Sunday Night Football, whole world watching, nationally televised. Like they want Jaden in this spotlight now. You saw how the ratings did against the Falcons game. It was like the most watched Week 17 game since 2015 on NBC. So, I mean, you already know next year we're going to get a bunch of nationally televised games. But, yeah, this game, Marshawn versus Mike Evans is the biggest matchup of the game. For me, it's the run game is – I don't expect us to have a great run game with the running backs because Todd Bowles, he just shuts that down. It's just what their identity is Vita Vea. Like they don't play around with the run game, but throwing the ball, we have to take advantage of their secondary. Jordan Whitehood's out for the season. Unfortunate car accident. I hate to hear that. Jamel Dean is banged up. Antoine Winfield is banged up, but he's going to play, and they've given up a lot of pass yards anyway. They're like 5th worst in pass yards allowed. So him and Terry, they got to connect. For whatever reason, him and Terry have been a little off. The Saints game, they were off. The Cowboys game, they were off. The Falcons game, Terry only had 1 catch for 5 yards. So they got to get back to that form where they were really cooking, man, where they were really heating up. That's like Terry's got to have a big game, in my opinion, for us to win this game. He's got to have 6, 7 catches, 80 yards, a tutty. We got to see Terry do this like he did against Dallas every game, the 13 touchdowns for the season. So that's going to be huge. And JD's going to have to put the cape on because I don't see B-Rob getting a lot of yards. So JD's going to have to run, man. He's going to have to run again, slide, get down, all the good stuff. Defensively, once again, Marshawn Latimore, Mike Evans, slow down Bucky Irvin. That's going to be huge. Those are just my keys looking at there. You got to get to Baker. Like we got pressure on Baker the first time, but we couldn't wrap up. So I see somebody in the comments talking about Roll Tide. We need those guys to step up, man. John Allen, Deron Payne. I'm looking at both of y'all, man. Like we need y'all got paid. We need y'all to step up big time, man. Like this is gonna be a huge Bama wall type of game. Like I need it. I need Dante Fowler to step up too. The whole D line is gonna be a collective effort for sure, man. So it's a winnable game for sure. I have us winning 23-17. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be super high scoring like the like Vegas has. I think over under is 50, which is smart. But once again, I can see it being 38-31, 35-27, 31-28, something like that. I can clearly see that happening, but for whatever reason, I just feel like it's going to be a little low scoring than what is projected to be. So I think 23-17. I know Rico and the guys disagree with me last night, but I think the defense actually makes a stop to win the game. I think that it's going to be on the line. Baker's going to get the ball with a minute 30 left. We're up 23-17. They got to score a TD, and I think Marshawn makes a big play. We win the game.
That would be beautiful.
That'd be great. That
would be new. That would be a new way we win this shit.
That would be great. Yeah, Rico, I was gonna let you go, but I wanted to pull this up for you, man, just to let you go ahead and respond to that before you go. Jefferson says, "Roll Tide, Rico. We beating y'all next year too."
All right. Well, hey, man, we'll see Jefferson, man. I can't wait for that because that transfer portal heating up, man. And y'all without Jalen Milroe little running self, I don't know, man. We're going to see next year.
But, yeah, Rico, I'll let you take us out. Thank you all for, again, coming on. But, Rico, I'm going to let you finish it off, kind of just picking up where Ed left off, just your thoughts of this overview game. And also, your DMV Bay, shout out DMV Bay. He says, y'all need to keep in mind the 2011 Giants had an NFL's 25th ranked defense, but yet won the Super Bowl. We can also do that. And I believe they was a 6th seed as well. So, Rico, go ahead and give us your quick overview of Sunday's game. And if you have a prediction for us, you can. If not, it's no big deal.
Yeah, my main things, my main takeaways coming into this game is, first of all, I feel like we're getting healthy at the right time. Like, yeah, I don't think we've had a game where we've had Tyler Biadasz and Marshawn Lattimore, like, and Austin Eckler at the same time. If I'm tripping, let me know. I don't think we've had all three. And which takes me to my next point, having Marshawn Lattimore on defense and Austin Eckler on offense. And to your point earlier, one, like when Tyler Biadasz isn't in the game, it's no hope of running the ball. And Jaden Daniels has instant pressure in his face. It's a completely different offense. Having those three guys back alone is going to be a huge help. But I feel like even like health-wise, having De'Ami Brown back is big because he's our big gadget guy. He's our best after the ball is in his hands, make something shake guy, from the background at the back of the field, screens like Ed said earlier and things like that. So just I feel like us being healthy at the right time is going to be big time. Also, us being healthier, I think we may be able to attribute our injuries to why we haven't played a full 4 quarters in a long time. The first 2/3 of the season, we had a couple full games, full 4 quarters, but usually we were a great first half team, and then we were terrible second and third quarter. Lately, these last 4 or 5 games, we've been terrible the first half and then great the second half. I think injuries play a large role into that, and like I've been saying, man, I feel like if the way that we're set up, and I think Jaden Daniels probably is the big reason for this. We can beat anybody. We can also lose to anybody. Like anybody in the entire, all the other 31 NFL teams, we can beat any of them. We can also lose to any of them. We can lose to the worst team. We can beat the best team. It just depends on if we're giving it all 4 quarters, if we're healthy, if Jaden Daniels is on point, our play calling is correct and everything's like that. So I'm really excited going into this game. I know we're technically like underdogs betting wise, but I do feel like we're the better team, especially like Ed pointed out, they have some severe injuries. I know in our injury report it may look bad, but we're actually healthier than we've been probably all season. Hopefully Deron Payne, he had the best game of his life last time we played the Buccaneers. Hopefully he can give us some of that as well. And I'm basically like the inverse of Ed. Like I feel like it will be a close game the whole way, quite a few points, maybe not to the point where it's like 30-something to 30-something, but I think we'll end up winning the game off of a Jaden Daniels game winning drive again. He took a day off. He took 1 game off, let Marcus Mariota get his little bit of shine with his game winning drive. I think Jaden Daniels will take it right back over. But Dan Quinn even said it himself. He's like, yeah, winning these close games over and over again is nice for the mentality of the team. We've been there, done that. We're not afraid of any moment. But, it would be nice to actually win a game comfortably as well. We're legally allowed to go and win a game by 10 points and not have it come all the way down to the wire. So I'm hoping it's what Dan Quinn wants it to be. But when in doubt, for me, we have the ball last, we're winning.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, hey Rico, for my heart's sake and for all our hearts, man, let it please be a little comfortable because I don't know if I could take yet another kind of close game. But to close it out, I'm gonna take the super chat here. Thank you guys so much for coming on again. All NFC games in the first round are revenge games, and the road teams this week lost on the road. I'm picking all road teams for the NFC this weekend, and yeah, that is a good point. And I'm very superstitious. So that's why I also think we're going to win on Sunday, because I feel like there's just no way that we show up and play the way we did week 1. And you mentioned, like, we're one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team coming into the playoffs. So that could play into a factor of us, having some momentum. 5-game win streak. I don't know if there's another team, at least on the NFC side of things, that is also coming into the playoffs on a 5-game winning streak. So there you have it, man. Washington in a good spot. Go ahead, Rico.
Just to add to your point too, we haven't lost to any team twice. No team has beat us twice this season. So let's go and get our revenge, man.
Yeah, no, I did hear that earlier. Jaden Daniels, they asked him that question. And typical Jaden Daniels answers, he's very media trained and like he always says the right stuff. But you can count on Jaden Daniels to hit him with the, I don't know. It's just like I'm just out there playing football. I don't really know. So that's kind of how he answered that question as well. It's like I really don't know, and I don't know how you answer that question. Really, like how are you so good the second time you face a team? I really don't know how you would answer that question. But that is a good point. We're undefeated when it comes to playing the team a second time. So hey, look, if you're betting guys out there, I'm not sponsored by BetUS, but I know these 2 guys are. So if y'all want to go ahead and take their advice off that,
not anymore.
You can go ahead and take that if you want. So but yeah, y'all, I'm gonna close it out. I'm gonna let Ed and Rico both go. But before we do, I want you guys to give your final words. If you have anything, starting with Ed first of all, free Ed, please, in the chat. What we gotta do? Do we need to go down to the monument and start a march? You know what I'm saying? With the signs holding up saying free Ed.
Also, we gotta find the YouTube headquarters or Google headquarters, whoever runs YouTube, man.
Yeah, they need to free my boy Ed, man. But any last words you got for us, Ed? If not, I'll pass it off to Rico, and then I'll get your boys started.
Always, just thanks for having me on, man. Definitely got it. You're almost at 9K. Congrats on 8K. Congrats on bringing back the morning show, man. I love the song for sure. The intro is dope. Everything's dope with the channel, man. Keep doing what you're doing as always, man. Awesome. You're awesome content creator. You've been doing it for years and years and years, man. Thank you for your service too, and doing that too, man. And just keep doing you for sure.
Hey, thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate it, especially coming from a guy like you. You know, I always got to shower you with your flowers, man. Being a big inspiration as to why I started my page. Any chance I get to shout you guys out, I always do. Because you know you guys are, you know, the legends in this community. So I appreciate you. Rico, got any last words for the people out there before we let you go?
I mean, first of all, I echo what Ed said. Like, if we had to give out like awards, I feel like hardest working. I think you probably have to take that one, dog. I would have to vote you on that one, man. So, just off of that alone, man. Yeah, man. Just of course, let me know you my dog and everything. And then my final thing for the game would be, man, not only win, but like try to win and stay healthy, man. Because you know it's looking like the Eagles are more likely going to beat the Packers, especially with all the injuries that they have, which means that we're going to end up matched up against the Lions if we beat the Buccaneers. So we're gonna need everybody we can get. We're gonna need every little bit of help we can get. I don't know. We may need a little bit of voodoo too, but hey, man, beat the Buccaneers and do it in a healthy way so that we can be ready for our next opponent, man.
Yes, sir, man. And hey, look, I don't know if I could take credit for that hard work, and I think that got to go to my boy Rico, man. I think I got to go back to you because them 40-minute hour videos with the come on, man, analytical deep, man. Hey, look, you be dropping movies, man. I be watching them jumps like
1 a.m.
Yeah, like you.
I'm a night owl though. Like that's kind of unfair to give me credit for the 1 a.m. I'm up till 4 for no reason anyway. yes, sir. So again, thank you all for coming on. Rico almost at that 30K. Ed almost at that 20K. Man, you guys are killing it and a big inspiration as to why I started my channel. So I thank you guys for setting the path for a person like me, man. And thank you all for coming on. And hopefully we can get this dub, man. I appreciate it again. Y'all be easy, be safe out there. Peace. Like, comment, subscribe.